Hi everyone, it's Natalie here, and welcome. This is a reading for the week starting the 19th of January through the 25th. I cannot believe that we're already, oh my gosh, we're already this far along in January. So this reading will include the new moon on Friday the 24th, and of course, Lunar New Year for Tibet and China. So this week, I can't explain why. I would simply say I was drawn to feminine decks this week, or decks that really embrace some feminine principles, and which are also made by women. Created by women. So we'll be working with the Story Medicine Tarot by Jessica Zinchuk. Her, I believe she's coming out with a second edition, and it's not as easy to find the first edition. I'm not sure. But I will include the link that I've been working with and where I purchased this in the description box. It's a wonderful deck that I have. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. Yeah. The other one I wanted to work with, because I think we worked with Red Seeds 1 week already, but I'd like for us to work with Red Seeds 2. I haven't combined the decks yet. If you follow Kasia over at Tarot Map, she does. And I just haven't done that yet, and I can't really say why. I had intended to do that right away, and I just haven't. So, I don't know. I kind of like drawing one from each deck. And, yeah, again, who knows why, but there we go. It doesn't have a guidebook because the meanings are on the backs of each card, and in this deck it really works. So, we'll work with that one. And finally, another really new deck for me is the Sovereign Oracle by Teresa Pridemore. If you have never seen this one, it's so delightful, and there's so many words, but it's really great for framing a reading. Yeah. So at the end, we will draw one of these and one of the red seeds to help frame up the reading for the week. Okay, so we're embracing some inner feminine and moving forward. So with that aside, I have already elected our Fool. So there, it's such a feminine deck. I'm going to go ahead and use the pronoun she, because this is most decidedly a she. Yeah. So beautiful. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get the other decks and boxes out of the way. Somehow, somewhere. All right. So I'm going to shuffle the Fool back in. So we're back in the Pentacles pile this week. I had that weird moment of like, oh no, was I looking at the camera to make sure this was in shot and I missed the Fool in another pile? I'm worried now. But no. So yeah, we're back in the Pentacles pile this week. So interesting that I chose this deck and decks about being embodied because being in the Pentacles, the Pentacles pile is very much about being. And when I think about physical being and earth, that puts me, as far as I'm concerned, that puts me back in, I've already marked up the cards here. I had a little accident with a candle earlier and I had to get up in the middle of shuffling to go wash my hands. Anyway, yeah, Pentacles is about being in the body. It's about embodied being. So what do we do every day that helps us embrace our being? And this is always for me, I think, as much as anyone else. What do we do that allows us to take in the world around us? Because that's, through the senses, through our beingness, not our doingness, mind you, but our beingness. Sometimes that will also mean doing things that help us be more embodied, but also it's just about our way of being. How do we reconcile with the world, with the physical world, with the 3 dimensions that we theoretically inhabit? So, we may be looking at things that tell us a bit more about money, about our home, about possessions, material reality. And anything that we find here, regardless of what suit it comes from, is going to be, the solution that we're looking for is going to be found through being. So coming back to just this, coming back to right now. Okay. Set them up. Okay, so here's our little Fool. And she's facing this way. She's facing left. So I did arrange all of our cards in an anti-clockwise fashion here, or counterclockwise. And the Fool is an elemental card, so it is worth a count of 3. So starting with and including the Fool, we have 1, 2, 3. So our first card, oh my goodness, is the 2 of Pentacles. Okay, so 2 of Pentacles is first, and of course, sorry about that, is worth 2 counts. 1, 2. Our second is the 7 of Cups. Wow, okay. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my, okay, 8 of Cups comes after that. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ace of Wands is next. Aces are 11, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I knew we were going to have a shorter number of cards this week. I just knew. Okay, I'm going to double check these because I like to double check. Okay, I double checked. It is correct. We only have 4, even though that was a really thick pile. Sometimes that happens. So we're starting this week with the 2 of Pentacles, followed by the 7 of Cups, the 8 of Cups, and the Ace of Wands. Here we have our cards of the week. So starting with the Two of Pentacles, I love this card. It's so descriptive of what it is, I think, to have children. I do not have children myself, but I really admire and support those who do, because, oh my gosh, what a job. So, here she is balancing on one foot with two little muffins on top of her head. So what I see is, trying to balance the physical world in terms of, how things come together, how our resources come together. Interestingly, I feel in this one, definitely, in part, that's emotional as well as physical. And it may very well, of course, be family, but I think, too, it's just juggling responsibilities. What are the responsibilities that we have in this world? How do we keep those and hold those in balance? Moving forward. And it may be, it's interesting to me that sorry, I keep moving the camera this week. It's interesting to me, too, that she's looking off into the distance. So, and she's existing in her body. Sometimes we try to manage the material world and all the responsibilities we have through doing. And she is absolutely modeling in this image what it is to be with those responsibilities and exist, and to do so from a place of calm, because that is in fact what brings that balance. We have this wonderful space behind her, the space around her, and she's managing. I think it's interesting, too, that she's not looking directly at us. She's allowing her gaze, to be very soft, relaxed. This tells us, I think, a lot about what we need to do in order to find that balance as we go into the week this week. Yeah. All right. And then here we have the Seven of Cups. Okay, I love what Jessica Zinchuk says about her Seven of Cups. Her key word is overflowing. I'm the spiritual cup overflowing. I am your one source of truth and life. I am flowing into everything that you do. I must always come first so that your vision does not become foggy, frozen, or dry. So I think this also represents choices and an abundance of choices. So it's interesting. I think taking care of ourselves this week and making sure that we are really watering, keeping the well filled, keeping the inner well filled, so that as we move forward and into our week, we're in a position whereby making those choices is clear and simple, because we're holding balance in our being and in our spirit. So what are the things that give you the ability to be filled back up? That speaks to me, too, of self-care. Definitely speaks of self-care. And I definitely am feeling choices. I'm definitely feeling choices with this one. That just feels very, very clear. And of course, we're then progressing, interestingly, to the Eight of Cups, which means that we're going to need to look at what are the things we need to leave alone or leave behind. What do we need to leave behind? At what point do the choices that we've made become clear to us that they're not, or the choices we need to make, the things that I guess it's past, right? So the choices that we have made in past have led us to this moment. Are they the right ones, or do we need to walk away? Do we need to seek higher ground? Do we need to go further? Do we need to go deeper? Where do we need to go? How do we need to shift? It's interesting, too. This is, if we're looking at this in terms of the Pentacles pile, which, is framing things for us this week, what are the choices that we've made about our environment, our homes, our bodies, our diet, our health? our well-being, our finances, and what do we need to let go of? I feel like this Eight of Cups could also represent detaching or letting go of physical items in the house. They're it's not really spring cleaning time yet, but I don't know about anybody else. In January, I often get really kind of like, okay, I've got to get in and clean things out. I've got to move things. I've got to shift things. And I begin that process. So I feel like that may be a big part of it. But either way, we're clearing away the things that no longer serve us, and we're letting them go, okay, as we walk into the week this week. And then, of course, we have the Ace of Wands. So, going through this process, I feel this is beautiful, because if it represents sort of the cadence of the week, by the time we get to the end of the week, there's this beautiful newness, this new inspiration, a new possibility, something that maybe lets our lights our souls on fire and brings us something new, takes us in a new direction, but in a very pure way, which feels right with that new moon coming up. Feels absolutely right. I think it's a new moon in Aquarius. Yeah, it's a new moon in Aquarius. So that air is maybe fanning the flames of something, fanning the flames of something. Yeah. So that said, let's look at what we have from the Red Seeds Oracle. So here it is. And there's 45 cards in this oracle. I'm going to go ahead and just shuffle off camera and pull them. All right. So the card that we drew for this week is I Am Blame, it looks pretty hideous. I've drawn this one before, actually, with this deck, so this is interesting. So Anisadora. And let's see, what is Sappho's quote here is, in a land that knows not bitterness nor sorrow, she has found out all of truth at last. All right, so the challenge is patriarchy, and the gift is hope. All right, so Anisadora, otherwise known as Pandora, was sent as a punishment from Zeus to the world of men after they had accepted fire from Prometheus. Anisadora was the first woman to be created and was shaped and molded from the earth. When finished, she was given a sealed clay jar, which she was forbidden to open. Okay, so we have the Pandora's box. Curiosity overwhelmed her, and her horror outflew a swarm of insects which stung her viciously. They were the sorrows, disease, poverty, misery, death, and sadness. Shutting the lid, she saw that there was only one insect left in the jar, hope, which was now unavailable to mortals. The world suffered until Anisadora reopened the jar and released hope back into the world. So like Eve, Anisadora's myth points the blame at women for the bringing of suffering to humanity. Wow. So when I get this card, and as I said, I've gotten this one a time or two since getting this deck here, right at the beginning of the year. I know I only just put out the walkthrough, but I've been working with it for probably two or 3 weeks. I think we need to look at being aware of the ways in which we are accepting blame and accepting things that are not ours. Accepting responsibility for other people's stuff. Accepting responsibility it's really a responsibility, for why things aren't working in your family, why things aren't working in your partnership or with your kids, or even just as a woman, right? If you're a woman and you are not with children, you don't have children, or you're not married, or you're young, I think it's also very easy to feel like the scapegoat in a workplace. And keeping in mind too that and this has definitely been my experience, by the way, it's very common that as women, we scapegoat another woman in the workplace. Okay. In any case, we need to look at the ways in which we are accepting responsibility for anything that's not ours. I think too, I don't know, hope is not really helpful to me as a word. I used to be much more of an idealist. I think I still tend toward being an idealist, but I'm much more, I guess I'm just much more of a realist. Life has taught me that. So hope for me is really not helpful. It's more, recognizing, I guess, or embodying strength enough to say that, not today, Satan. This is not my shit. These are not my insects. I did not ask for this. You have no right to put this on me when it's not mine. I think it's interesting too, in a lot of these cards, that sacral, or not sacral, solar plexus area is sort of highlighted there. Where, and it's there too. Take your power back. Where are you losing power? How can you accept more power? More of your own, sort of God-given birthright kind of power. You don't have to be responsible for what other people do, right? Let's pull out the Sovereign Oracle, and I'm going to go ahead and shuffle it off here to the side and come back with a word. Okay, so 2 cards jumped from the deck when I shuffled, and they are alchemy and alignment. So first, let's look at alchemy. Combine 2 things that don't go together. Step beyond all base matter to find the gold within. The once impossible may now be possible. Give it a try. I love that because what do we have here? Let's see. Combine 2 things that don't go together. Balancing on one leg and putting 2, newborn babies on your head, right? Trying to find a way to keep a balance while not doing. That could also be alchemical. Step beyond all base matter to find the gold within. So I also feel that that's in part, the 7 of Cups. So step beyond all base matter to find the gold within. And of course, the way that Jessica Zinchuk talks about the 7 of Cups is about, the wellspring within us that overflows and fills all of the cups. Stepping beyond, moving in moving in a different direction when things don't serve us, right? The once impossible may now be possible. Give it a try. And the second word that we have is alignment. Explore energy first. Matter will follow. So interesting when you think about, the pentacles and balance. Find the spine, yours or the one in the situation. Address the source and everything will fall into place. I love that. So that definitely feels in harm. Well, 2 of Pentacles, you've got to have some spine here to find the way to balance. So exploring the energy first. Again, this 2 of Pentacles holds so much of what's happening in our reading for the week. So finding that balance is also through finding alignment. If we're solving problems through being, how can we literally lengthen and align the spine? in order to, if we find our own, it may reflect the actual situation back to us more clearly. Yeah. Address the source and everything will fall into place. So as we look at the week this week, I keep putting things down and then I'm struggling to pick them up. So as we look at the week this week, we're balancing and aligning things physically in our bodies and in our space, in ourselves, in a way that is going to hopefully bring us back into alignment. Yeah. And I think that is also going to be about not accepting. Don't accept blame that's not yours. That really speaks to this one. If you're in a place where things, many of us may be, in a place where things are really difficult right now, and trying to create this balance is not an easily done thing. So, however you're doing that in your life right now, or wherever you may be experiencing that, look closely, come back into your body, do what you can to, realign with your being. As you do that, also begin thinking, okay, if I'm trying to reestablish balance, what are the things that are going to help fill up my inner wellspring so that I can take good care of myself, right? This forms a beautiful foundation for the ability to know what comes next, right? That's the thing that really gets us in daily life. What comes next? What do I need to let go of? What do I not want to accept? Okay, I feel like this Eight of Cups is very, very prescient with the I am blame. Yeah. Imagine these little cups being all those insects dropping off. Do not accept responsibility for what is not yours. Someone else's problems, their choice to blame their problems on you, to give you things to do or take care of that are not your responsibility, don't accept it. Right? Because when we do that and we free ourselves of that responsibility, what comes next is all of this possibility, right? Things go into alignment. Address the source. Everything will fall into place. The gold within. That's alchemy. And that's an inner alchemy. It's pretty profound when it comes about. All right. I hope this was helpful to you in some way, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And whatever your conditions and circumstances look like. So I offer you tremendous love and peace. May all of you be blessed. May we all be blessed as we move forward and into the week this week. All right, everyone, take good care of yourself. Bye.